What do you think of when you hear the waves? Let me tell you a story about a boy who loved the sound of waves and his experience living in Sembawang. Hi, my name is Hadi. I was born back in 1923 in a tightly coastal kampong along the shores of Sembawang. Nothing fancy, just mangrove, salty air, and the Orang Selita way of life. My father was a fisherman, so naturally, I grew up helping him at the sea and fell in love with it. The ocean was my playground, classroom, and sometimes my babysitter. And then came World War II, and before I knew it, I was drafted and thrown into the bustle of Sembawang Naval Base. Overnight, my quiet village turned into a fortress buzzing with soldiers, ships, and noises I never asked for. I survived it all, of course, but a part of me always misses the easy days. It was just me, the tides, and the mangroves. As the year rolled by and Sembawang modernized, I watched the places of my childhood slowly fade away. The mangroves thinned, fishing ground shrank, and the old rhythms of our Orang Selita life grew fainter. And somehow now it's 2025, and I suppose I've sort of become a bridge between what Sembawang used to be and what it now is. A keeper of old stories, tides, and a heritage that refuses to disappear as long as I'm still here to tell the stories. So, starting on my timeline, in the early 1920s, Sembawang was just a small fishing village where Hadi spent his childhood. His life was deeply connected to the sea due to his father being a fisherman, and the surrounding mangroves. However, as the Sembawang naval base began to expand, in the 1930s, it affected the local environment, leading to a decline in the fish population as well as the mangroves. During World War II in 1942, Hadi played a crucial role in guiding civilians and soldiers to safety as the naval base descended to chaos. After the war, in 1946, the landscape of Sembawang changed dramatically. The British returned, and many families, including Hadi's, had to move inland as the area was reshaped by industrialization. As Singapore modernized throughout the decades, Sembawang shipyard transformed into a major industrial hub in the 1970s. Hadi, now a veteran in shipbuilding, adapted to changes, taking on a role as a skilled technician. By the 2000s, Sembawang shipyard had evolved significantly, with Hadi passing on his expertise to the younger generation. Even today, in 2025, Hadi, very old, reflects on his past while enjoying walks along the Sembawang Heritage Trail and enjoys the sunsets, remembering the vibrant fishing culture and natural environment that once defined the area. So moving on to psychogeography. My psychogeography map for the past shows all the types of activities that Hadi might have been doing as a child since he was part of the Orang Selita. So firstly, in the early mornings, he would go with his father out to fish and help out with the catch. And sometimes he would also go to the rubber plantation beside to help out his neighbors who were rubber plantation owners. Sometimes he would also travel further down inland through the mangroves to collect water from the well, since clean water wasn't really accessible to the villagers during the time. Sometimes he would also go down to the stream nearby the mangroves to wash his clothes and bathe with his siblings and his mother. At times, he will also go down to an enclosed area at the sea to swim and play with his friends. And sometimes he will also go through the right side of the mangroves down to expeditions to catch fish and camp in camping boats that the Orang Selita people were known for. Sometimes, occasionally, he will also go and just watch the military base being built and what was going on there since he was a child and was curious. Now, moving on to my present psychogeography. My present psychogeography shows activities that he would do and take as an elderly person. So, he would sometimes go down to his void deck and hang out with his friends that he has made along the way. And most of the time in the evening or morning, he will go to the SAF Yacht Club and just hang out there, watch the sunrise or sunset, and just breathe in the fresh air and look at all the newer boats like the yachts and stuff. And he will also tend to avoid Sembawang shipyard since it was very noisy. Sometimes he also will go down to the Sembawang Park, to Sembawang Beach to fish, to walk or to exercise. The map also shows the types of vehicles he would take, such as buses or cars that his family owns, and this in turn makes it much more accessible compared to in the past where they had to take boats just to reach all the way in or to the mangroves just to camp. So finally, for my genius loci, it is a coastal threshold holding what was, revealing what remains. So Sembawang shipyard spirit emerges from the meeting of sea labour memory and constant change from my studies. And once a living coastal ecology of mangroves, tidal creeks, and orang Seletar kampongs, it was reshaped by the British Admiralty into a militarized landscape, but later into a resilient commercial shipyard where new industrial identities grew. And today, with restored mangroves, HDB neighborhoods, parks, and heritage trails, the area holds layered ecological, colonial, industrial, and urban memories, and its essence lies in the tension between what has vanished and what endures, a coastal threshold where human stories and shifting landscapes continue to shape one another like Paddy's story. Thank you.